today to have Brad Korn, who is 29-year veteran in the real estate business, author, real estate coach, international speaker, part of Keller Williams Master Faculty. And I know, Mary Beth, you have known him for quite some time. We're excited to have you here with us today. And we've got people who join us on the Zoom and then on Facebook Live as well. And then we replay it as well. So thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, I'm super excited to be with you too. These two powerful ladies right here. And Julie, you forgot one thing. I actually am a real estate agent too.
That too. That one.
I'm probably more of that than everything else. But anyway.
You know, I also would like to just say that I think Brad doesn't remember this, but when I was a brand new agent, my first family reunion or mega camp, something like that, and Brad Korn is on the stage and he's getting interviewed by Gary or somebody, and I had a really great year and I thought I was really awesome. And I did 11 million in New Jersey with like 27 transactions. And here I am, I'm sitting in this, you know, auditorium and listening to these top agents, and here this guy had done, I don't know, 20 something million or so. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm right behind him. And it was like 127 units. And I was like, wait, what? That's a lot of work. But I didn't look at it going like, I mean, actually my first response was, I think I'd move. But then I realized, well, no, I think then that just means it's possible. Somebody can do 100 transactions. Wow. So I want to thank you for being like that first moment of outside New Jersey real estate to go, this is what happens in the rest of the country. I have room to grow. And, and with that, I'd love for you to just tell us where you are, who you are, how you got where you are, your journey, so they can be inspired as well.
Absolutely. Well, and that's funny that you say that, Mary Beth, because that is like the message that I've had forever. So I'm not as smart as you guys, where you can sell 11 million and not really have to work too hard. Now we work hard because we may not have a system in place, but don't have to sell 100 homes a year. I was forced in the Kansas City market to sell 100 homes a year to support the lifestyle that I wanted to provide for my family and my daughters and get them to college and have a decent house. We don't live in some mansion. To have a new car that, you know, starts when you go out in the driveway. I remember like when I was growing up, you never knew what day your car was going to start or not start, you know, and how you were going to get around. So it really has become a mission about 100 sales a year for every single agent, every single market, everywhere. And it's so simple to do that today's conversation may be a little bit like what you felt like, and it was at family reunion when you were sitting in that seat, that we're going to get real a little bit and it's going to hurt a little bit, but it's going to make you kind of go, gosh, I could do so much more. And here's the side benefit is that when we operate at 100 sales a year and we deliver world-class service with great systems, we're protecting our industry. Like nobody can come take it away from us because we are takeable right now and everybody's trying to take it away from us. So it's about time we develop the Disneyland. I mean, can you imagine any amusement park that could open today and take Disney's business away? That's what we're talking about creating, is creating the real estate industry that doesn't exist yet today to protect it so that nobody can take it away ever.
I mean, pause on that. Like, don't miss that message, right? You just, to take that to that level, like the amusement parks are shut down. People are yearning to get in there, create memories with their family, have fun again. And they're starving for it. The minute something opens, whatever it is going to be amazing. And so are we going to be positioned? Are you going to be positioned that when that real estate transaction there's a hunger for it again? And in our market, we are experiencing some of that, but as a whole, if there's a hunger for, are you going to be positioned to get that market share? Love it.
Yeah.
So can I ask just on a personal note, before we get into the journey, you know, you have a well, now a very large family. There's like 7 of those children running around, right? But I know you had some challenge. You had a challenge years back, and you have 4 beautiful girls, and so would you share a little bit about that and how that kind of catapulted any piece of your life?
Yeah, actually, that's pretty important piece because that's the only reason I can sit here and say 100 sales a year for every single agent in the entire industry. And by the way, we're not going to step on each other's toes. We probably won't even steal any business, if any, from each other. That's how crazy big this is. But yeah, it started, I started in real estate 29 years ago. And the first 3 years in real estate, I did what everybody did, trying to figure out what the heck to do because they didn't teach us anything we needed to know in real estate school. So I'm out there, I've done it all.
What business did you come from before this?
I was in retail management for a while, selling Levi's at the mall, working weekends, nights, holidays. And then I thought I'd become a real estate agent so I wouldn't have to work weekends, nights, holidays. What? I worked every weekend, night, and holidays trying to support my real estate habit. It wasn't a job then. And I was supporting 3 girls and working 2 jobs trying to get real estate off the ground. It ended up costing me my first marriage. I didn't see it. I still don't agree with it. I don't want to take blame for what actually happened, but I guess if you dig deep enough, there's a core blame somewhere, and it was probably working too much, right? So I'm raising 3 little girls on my own with a commission-only business that, when I got into real estate, I was excited about making $10,000 every time I sold a house, right?
Yep.
So that's maybe New Jersey, definitely not Kansas City, but I made $10,000 in commissions if you added up my first 3 years in real estate. That's how many houses $10,000. So I had to work 2 jobs. I delivered newspapers in the morning and worked Radio Shack nights and weekends at the holiday. That was post retail management when I decided to get into real estate, and then realized, man, you got to treat this like a business. It's a brick and mortar business without the brick and mortar. Think about that. Yeah. It's like, we were just talking about Hoboken. So of course, the first thing I think of, like everyone else, is what? Cake Boss. Can you imagine Cake Boss opening up his shop in the back alley with no sign on the door and becoming what he is today? Probably not. People aren't going to find you. So a lot of times we say secret agent. So anyway, fast forward through that, moved back to Kansas City in 1991, got into real estate in 91, moved back to Kansas City in 95, got divorced. So at least I got home first. And then I thought I would give this real estate thing a go where I actually knew somebody, because I knew nobody in the Twin Cities. Minneapolis is where I started. Knew nobody there, was just trying to get out of the retail business and thought real estate was the next best millionaire thing to do. So anyway, got back to Kansas City and met my second wife just a year after the divorce, and she was great. We became business partners. I think you met Sonia, Mary Beth.
I did.
She's kind of hard to forget once you meet her. We called her smooches. She gives everybody a hug. She'll give you the shirt off her back. She's the reason I even had employees, because who would want to work for me? I mean, they worked for Sonia.
She had such an amazing energy. She had an amazing energy. She was a magnet.
Yeah, she really was. So we ran our business, and then in 2015, she was going to pick up an elderly client on the Kansas side to bring her back over to the Missouri side for a closing, and we had sold her house, and she was like 80 something. So over by the stadiums where, home of the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, you knew that was coming. I wasn't going to let it pass.
I did. I wrote it down. I was like, don't forget that. He seems obsessed.
I almost was going to have all my Kansas City gear on and everything. So anyway, she's coming off this one entrance ramp right by the stadiums. It's the death trap of all of our highways. And she must have got clipped or something, spun around, took a head-on collision. And she survived the accident, though. She was in a little Nissan Juke. They're like mini go-karts, just beyond a go-kart, between a go-kart and a car, the Nissan Juke. But it did its job. It kept her alive. She took a head-on collision. I was actually in Louisiana speaking at a real estate deal, and I found out she's in the hospital, and she was unconscious for a while. So made the news, shut down the highway during rush hour traffic till like 10 o'clock. So she did go big on that accident for sure. So I get the call, I get on the next flight, race home. She's on crutches for like 14 weeks or 12 weeks or whatever it is for her hip. Her hip got shattered from the head-on collision, smashing her leg through her hip socket. She at that time was 42, I think, 42, 43. So she's on crutches for 12 weeks. So like you said, Mary Beth, a lot of energy. Tell Sonia she can't put any weight on her feet for 12 weeks. So we were pretty big on it because I didn't want her to be 90 years old, like hobbling around, you know, because she walked on her hip. So I wouldn't let her do anything. So 12 weeks goes by, she gets off crutches, we're slowly bringing her back. And I don't even know what happens to a person's mindset when they go through a head-on collision and all that stuff. So it messed with her a little bit. But so we were plugging her back in, and then 2 weeks after she got off the crutches, she's in bed. She's having trouble sleeping the whole time, a lot of insomnia, had some nose surgery, trying to figure out why she couldn't sleep. So this 2 weeks after she's off crutches, she is in there snoring like a truck driver. I mean, just going to town, sawing logs. Last thing I'm going to do is get too worried about it prematurely. I'm going to let her sleep and just keep an eye on her. But it was really weird. So I kept an eye on it. She was snoring consistently, no pauses, none of that stuff, no reason to be alarmed or call 911 until about 10:30 when I tried to wake her up and she wouldn't respond. And she was just snoring away. So she just was asleep, and we never did get her back awake from that. I called 911. My daughter came in and was concerned. We called 911, and they lost her for about 4 minutes on the ambulance ride and 4 minutes at the ER. So that lack of oxygen for about 8 minutes is what puts people into a vegetative state. So it was a brain injury, anoxic brain injury. But she was basically in a coma for 5 months. And this is an important part of the story I want you guys to hear. She's in a coma for 5 months. Now, I learned from Gary Keller, his story about when he took his son fly fishing, took him to the Colorado, found the guy in the backwoods, river, mountains, fly fishing champion that lives on the river to teach his son how to fly fish. So at that point, you know, I knew brain injury, and I hear people coming out of comas all the time. I started asking the doctors, where would you take your wife? I mean, if she had a brain injury, everybody kept saying Lincoln, Nebraska, Madonna, 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 Madonna. So next thing I did was the 3-hour ambulance ride of her to Madonna, and I was there for 5 months. And we just could not get her brain to stop seizing. It took 5 months to realize that she wasn't even really responding. But man, I got a whole Facebook page documented of everything she was doing, we wanted it so bad. And when I went back and reviewed it, nothing was the same. She never repeated anything twice. Her body was very much alive. Sonia wasn't there. So after about 5 months, we had to make the biggest decision at all. We're talking about no life support, and you know she's not coming back. And what Mary Beth said, the best thing of her was that she can't live like that. She would haunt us if we left her like that. So it was best for us all to just let her go. And that's where the real story began for this part of the interview. Being gone from my business for 5 months. Now, I'd had my team as big as 9 people. We sell 100. At the most, it was 125 sales 1 year. We sell 100 pretty much every single year. And it's like clockwork, and we're just managing the database and managing the systems. But I was gone for 5 months. And at that particular time, we had one assistant that had been with us less than a year, or maybe right about a year. And we had one buyer's agent that had been with us less than a few months, and I'm gone. I'm the listing person. I do all the listing appointments. My assistant manages the system, and our buyer's agent shows all the properties. And we don't have Sonia there to manage all of us, keep us all organized. So in that 5 months though, or in that year of 2015, we closed 97 units and I was gone for 5 months. And I didn't have a team. There wasn't anybody else going on listing appointments. I literally drove back from Lincoln 3 hours, 1 day a week, had all my appointments piled, booked. I took the listings, they managed the system, the buyer's agent showed properties, and we sold 97 homes. And that is when, in January, I kind of looked at my bookshelf one day and I saw the E-Myth sitting there and I was like, it's the E-Myth is what I implemented 20 years ago. The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, cover to cover, implemented that book. And those systems sold 97 homes that year because my team didn't even know what the systems really were yet. They'd been with us less than a year. They didn't know to trust it or to know that it would work, other than Brad says, beat it every day, do what it says to do what it says to do, just do what it says to do, and made sure that stuff got done. And we sold 97 homes, and that piqued Michael's, whoa, what is that? That piqued Michael's interest when I called, because all I did was Google Michael Gerber and found a phone number, called it, left a message. Mr. Gerber, you don't know me from Adam. You wrote a book 30 years ago. I read E-Myth 20 years ago. I implemented it. And I just want to thank you for giving me 5 months with my wife, because I literally was in the hospital room by her side for that 5 months. There's fun pictures. I don't know if you followed the Facebook page, Mary Beth, but there's me pushing her in the wheelchair around the parking lot. We're racing. I was like, so there's one where I like got my leg up and it looks like I'm running full speed. It was a pose, okay? But she's just sitting there, you know, kind of in a coma, whatever you do in a coma in a chair, and everybody who saw I was racing her around the parking lot, and we were just having fun.
I did. I watched that and my heart broke. And then I also saw a man like evolve out of that time that was very strong and stable and secure for those girls, and probably everything that you had committed yourself in life to accomplish, regardless of what challenge you were faced, you know, having to pivot a bit and have that 5 months and then that whole year spent in a different way than you had planned wasn't what you wanted to do, but you had commitments that were made. And to watch you go through that, I'm still crying hysterical, but to watch you go through that really like gave me some strength. And I guess even quietly, like while we hadn't talked or anything, I took that journey a little bit with you, and you made me a stronger person, and she made me a stronger person through that watching that. So thank you.
That's awesome. Now she heard that. She heard that. Well, and you know what's funny is, you know, this is a leadership call, and the leadership that I was around in this company and just being pulled in all the time. It's like becoming a coach, a MAPS coach. That 10 years of professional coaching was my training ground. That the day where I just fell on the couch and just, I'm going to curl up in a ball and sink in a hole. It like in 2 seconds, my coaching brain would say, well, so Brad, what would you be saying on a call right now? Sick kid, what? You still got bills. You still got to make your calls. And it would not let me just lay there. Not that I didn't grieve and not that I didn't do any of that stuff. I mean, we still talk about Sonia all the time. I mean, how can you not? So it's even my new wife, Lynette, which you would love her too.
I met her too. She's amazing also. She's got amazing energy, and what a sweetheart. I met her.
But you know, she talked to Sonia even before we had actually gone on a double date. Well, not a double date. It was a 3 of us, and it was our assistant. Her dad was friends with Lynette, and we all went to a concert like on a triple date kind of thing a year prior to the accident. Never saw her really again, other than she was just one of John's friends, right? And then she showed up 4 months later through John, who, you know, him and I are both single. Those two are just friends. And we become like the reverse threes company. And she's just awesome. I mean, we're just having a total blast being friends. Didn't even see it coming. I'm like, so, I don't know. I'm not very, there's not an awareness factor skill in me anywhere. I can't see stuff coming like that. And then pretty soon, you know, she's meeting out and John's not coming tonight. John couldn't make it tonight. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute. Something's happening here.
Wait, are we in a relationship?
And so that, you know, that was one of the things that you guys asked me to talk about is, you know, what's the big point? And we'll get to this too, but guys, stay out of your comfort zone, get above comfortable in your business to where things are better than what you need, because you will operate to what you need at all times. And in fact, as your need goes up, you just increase more and you call that successful growth. But you're still like, if 1 month came and knocked you off track, it would send everything into a spiral the other direction. So by being in those leadership roles and coaching, not so much to be the leader, but to learn to think like leaders, you have to be a leader, right? That would keep me everybody always pushed me. And just by being around successful people, I pushed myself to try and catch up to them, you know? So that when something bad happens, it sucks you down to comfortable so you can be in the moment for whoever you need to be there for. Where if you're always comfortable, it sucks you down below comfortable. And then now you're worried about, well, how's my house going to get paid? How's my car going to get paid while you're dealing with whatever the situation is? Like right now, what so many agents are probably in right now, they didn't ever get out of comfortable. And so getting out of comfortable is not increasing your business 5, 10, or 15% a year. Getting out of comfortable is doubling your business every single year for about 5 or 6 years. And then you're really way above comfortable. So that's what I experienced, was that double growth for about 4 or 5 years in a row. Went from 1 million to 2 million to 4 million to 8 million, and realized that really any million we do is totally set by our brain set and being comfortable.
Absolutely. So with that in mind, thank you so much for sharing and being so open. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned through what you just shared, but can we talk about what now you look like? Because you were saying the 9 people, and tell me what you've pivoted to over 2019 and then now to 2020.
Well, so you know, you look for signs all the time. You want God to talk to you and tell you what direction to go. So this call to Michael Gerber turns into, you know, a crazy thing. Like I'm like Michael Gerber's adopted grandson. I mean, I love these two, him and his wife, Luz Dahlia. I love them so much because they're super cool people, not because it's Michael Gerber. I'm probably one of the few people on the planet that can look past Michael Gerber, the incredible #1 guru, you know, genius, because I know him so well right now. He's just Gerber. And every time I say his name, he laughs, you know. Hey, Mr. Gerber. And he just laughs, you know. And if I call him Michael, he laughs.
Can you share with some people what the E-Myth is? Maybe
yeah,
they're not familiar.
Yeah, so the E-Myth was written about 30 years ago. This is where you got to be careful, because Gerber really is the #1 small business guru. If you Google top business books of all time, every single year, E-Myth is in the top 5. And it's called E-Myth, or E-Myth Revisited is the one you'll find now. And it's why small businesses don't work and what to do about it. Now, what I was smart enough to figure out is I'm a pretty small business, and what I was doing wasn't working. So I read why a small business isn't working, what to do about it, the E-Myth. And then I actually read it cover to cover because it was so stupid simple. He basically interviews a pie shop owner she comes in every day, opens her shop, makes her great pie that she's made that all of her friends told her was the most amazing pie on the planet. So she decided to open a bakery. And Gerber talks about how, you know, there's 3 parts to a business. There's the technician that does it, the manager, and the entrepreneur. And most small businesses that get into business are the technician 100% of the time. If a chef opens a restaurant, it's because he's a great chef, not a great business person. And he tries to get you to bring the manager and the entrepreneur in sync with the technician, right? Real estate, we are all 100% technicians. If you don't show up tomorrow, money won't come in a month from now, 2 months from now, 3 months from now. Could you disappear from your business for 5 months and close not even 97 homes? Could you close 40? Could you close 10, 5 months from now, right? So that'll tell you right there you're in a technician role. So he talks about how you succeed, and it's about documenting and systematizing everything and separating you from your business or your system or whatever. And this is the biggest thing we got to hear in this message, because we talk all the time about big teams, and I watch agents building teams before they need a team. Do you realize there's only about 10 hands-on hours involved in a transaction? From the time I list the house until it closes, Brad Korn only has to touch that file about 10 hours during that 60-day closing or whatever. From the time I start showing houses until it closes, and this is if somebody looked at a lot of houses, you get the over-the-top showing person that makes you show them 10 or 15 houses, 10 hours, tops maybe. Now, if you're showing 15, 30 homes, you don't have a system in place at all. You're just flying by the seat of your pants, trying to make anything stick. But following that system, do you realize that closing 3 to 4 houses a month is only 40 hours a month with a system? So it needs to be a system-driven business. 40 hours a month, I said, not a week, a month, right? So anybody can handle 4, 6, 8, 12 sales a month. They really can. I mean, the days of where we heard stuff like, at 40 sales, you should hire an assistant. Not really. I mean, if you're in San Diego, you're going to, just because you're making sick money and you're going to waste it anyway, but you are wasting it. You're wasting $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year by hiring an assistant at 40 sales a year.
Well, in New Jersey, just to give you perspective, most people do believe at 20 deals they're going to hire an assistant. And I always question that. Like, at 20 deals, you should be able to run 36, 40 deals, maybe have a little part-time assistant, some help, some leverage. But if it's all systemized, you don't need an assistant. And that's where you're going to tell me you don't have enough money now, and you're going to make them your partner.
Right. Oh, and this is what I talk about in the book, because I wrote E-Myth Real Estate Agent. We'll talk about that. But I wrote in the book, it's like, so you're going to hire somebody for $8 or $10 an hour. Maybe in New Jersey, it's 15 or 20 bucks an hour, and say, here, create all my systems for me, who has not done it for even 1 year and can't get in my head to get me straightened out anyway. You're the one that needs to create your systems, because you are Walt Disney. You know, you've got to get Walt Disney on paper. You've got to get your Disney experience in real estate on paper and document everything you do. Everything you do. From the time the phone rings, what do you say when you pick it up? How come we can get their name, address, phone number from every single lead that comes in on the phone? By the way, this is all tested and true. Kansas City is my laboratory. Lead comes in, team member grabs it, doesn't get the address, right? Doesn't get all their information. They really were trying to get off the phone. I will pick up the phone, call them right back, and in less than 30 seconds, they're telling me their life story, their address, and my team member's sitting there looking at me going, you're just Korn. No, it's a system. I ask the same questions every single time, and the goal is to get the address every single time.
You probably have a sheet that has the questions on it too.
Boom, right there, incoming sheet. Yep. Blue for buyer, yellow for seller.
Yellow for seller. The two things that come to my mind there is, and people might get offended, I'm okay with it, is ego gets in the way sometimes. Well, I need an assistant, or lazy and just like, well, I don't want to do that. And really, if we just would take the time, even if it's you do it once and you do it great and you document it, then you can give it to somebody else.
Well, and so if you are going to hire somebody and you want to give them the stuff you don't want to do, how exciting is their life going to be in about 3 months? As exciting as you are doing it, right? Oh, but I'll find somebody who loves to do it. Guys, here's the deal. There's an entire book written on talent is overrated, because talented people are going to want to be where you are and do what you do. And let me make this point really clear, because this is what I got out of the email. If it's a people-driven business, if you're looking for talent to run your business, that's people-driven. People are unpredictable. People, you don't know what's going to happen with something like right now is happening. You know, people-driven businesses are driven by people, and people are just flat out nuts, right? Look at us right here. If you all know us, we're a little crazy. You don't know what you're going to get. So if it's a system-driven business and people run the system, I can get that all the way down to the minimum level, minimum wage. I can hire basic people. However, if I plug a talented person into a system-driven business, their productivity will get 10 times the return versus like, I'll at least be able to get predictable out of core people, but I'll be able to really take a talented person when I do find them. And by the way, what's finding them mean? Because we're on kind of a leadership call. If we say 90% of the real estate agents are doing 10% of the business, right? And 10% of the agents are doing 90% of the business. The 80-20 rule has become more of a 90-10. It might even be more of a 95-5 if you're looking for the top, right? You guys know this. The 3% club, that's what I always shot for. It's like, I want to be in the top 3%. Selling 100 homes a year in Kansas City, I think I'm in the top 3%. Yeah. That is sick. I mean, crazy. I probably should have done that. That wasn't very PC. But I mean, it's just sick, stupid, crazy that somebody can't come knock me off this little mountain. Not that I'm on a mountain, but I mean, anybody could take the 100 transaction a year spot in Kansas City. Anybody can, because I'm not really working that hard, right? So when you're finding those talented people and you're plugging them in, that makes them way more powerful and way more productive. And you can they can replace themselves and everybody can keep growing.
So Brad, will you share with us what your real estate team looks like now and what your role is on it now and what type of business you're doing? Because I love what you're saying about like, it's all systematized and we hear it and we know it, and yet to do it is something completely different. So I'd love to know what type of your business you're doing with how many people.
So how many people do you think might see this interview that are fairly new in real estate, less than a year or so, not really selling more than 20, 30 homes a year? You think like 80%, 90%, 70%?
70%.
Yeah. So this response is for every single person listening. Those people, so they can actually see, oh my gosh, if this guy can do it and the way he's about ready to explain, then I have a chance. For all the people that are already above that, guys, you haven't even started your business yet. You're working way too hard. You probably have a people-driven business and you're missing over 100 sales a year. In fact, put it in this perspective. If you have a team of 10, all 10 people on your team can sell 100 properties a year. And it will be because of your system that's helping them do that. So it's not them having to sell 100 homes a year, because most agents listening, that 70% or whatever you said, when they hear 100, well, they haven't even gotten to 50 yet. Well, you can't get to 50 until you're on your way to 100. Like, you can't stumble into 50 sales a year. You have to be on track to do 100 sales a year to get to 50. Mm-hmm. If you're not on track to do 100 sales a year or doing 100 sales system, you will be sitting where you are now doing 10, 20, 25, 30 deals a year forever. There is no in the middle, and it's so predictable. So let me answer your question specifically. 2019, I got a picture of my team around here somewhere. Oh yeah. This is it. Yeah. This is it. So I sold 66 homes in 2019 as my own personal challenge to writing a book that actually is not just a business card. Like, see, this is not the thing that I just like say, hey, just get a free copy and send me $5.95 for postage. That's a real book with real systems that will really help you get 100 sales a year. This book cost you 10% of whatever 100 sales a year would be, because you're going to get a 10 times return on this book, right? That's what it should cost you. Anyway, so in the book, I wrote about all of our systems. There's probably 11 or 12 systems covered in those 26 chapters. And the other chapters are either the story or pulling it all together so that you can make a business out of it, right? And it's all systems. So I literally, go ahead.
Is it as simple as the pie?
As simple as the pie.
All right.
And well, and I love that you said that, because it's not simple to get the systems in writing. It's 1 year of hard work. Really, I mean, you can do it in 3 or 4 months, but it's really documenting and then adding what you missed that you didn't document so that everything you do is documented. You know, you have both heard this for years. I mean, team leaders, that we think that the people want to do business with us, and so we're control freaks and we don't want to give everything up. Well, there's something about you that makes those clients attracted to you. And when you can document that, anybody can be you, right? Anybody can be you.
Standards, expectations, customer service, that's what they're attracted to, not necessarily you, Brad.
Yeah. So with the book coming out and thinking, you know, just planning ahead and setting a strategy in place to launch this book and change the whole real estate industry, I rolled my business into another team. We have the expansion stuff going on. This is nothing against expansion, but it is against partnership. Be careful who you get in partnership with.
Thank you.
So there wasn't systems there that I tried to bring, but it was never really my business, and I tried to hand it off too early. And I needed to just keep my own business going and then create the book. I also found out that the book world is broken. Like the whole getting books and all that stuff and being able to help people implement your book is broken. That's why there's no launch. Where have you seen this book? You have to know who I am to know this book's out there, because there's not a great system in place to ensure or guarantee that everybody who reads it's going to get a 10 times return. Yeah. So I haven't launched it yet. I mean, it's sitting there. You can go buy it, right? I think we've sold 7,000 or 8,000 copies.
I was just thinking, I look and get, my husband says, like, how are you ever going to have enough time to read all the books that you buy? Like, I buy 3 a week, and I've never seen that. And that's it.
Yeah, well, because I've never launched it. People need to come to me and say, okay, I want this book to work, or they got a copy and they actually read it and they're like, I need this to work. They'll come find me. Like, so the reverse is, I can blast this out. It's Amazon. I can fill the warehouses. I can send you all kinds of junk emails, and we'll grab 1% of the population of the real estate industry to buy a copy, and it'll be a lot of copies of books. And then guess what I got to do next year? Do it all over again. I hate revolving door businesses. I could have created a coaching company. I could have created all this stuff. The problem is that it's a rotating business that you got to keep new business coming in enough to pay the bills. And I can sell real estate and do that. Why do I need to start a new business? So I'm selling real estate every day. So in 2019, last year, I sold 66 homes completely solo. Like, I, on purpose, never hired anyone. Now, the great news.
You didn't have an assistant on that?
I didn't even have a sign runner. I had no assistant, no nothing. And think about this for a second.
What market is this?
Kansas City.
Yeah, I'm coming out there. I got to see this.
Well, so think about this. So, I mean, I do feel a little sorry for my office and compliance and contracts, right? Yeah. Not that they're horrible. I'm a licensed real estate agent. So for one thing, do you know how many paragraphs in a real estate contract in 29 years of selling real estate? I haven't read the paragraph. We're all guilty, right? But not that I went through and read the paragraph or whatever, but I had to set up systems that kept me accountable to make sure I sent it in compliance on time, to make sure that the commission letter got to the title company on time. So 2019, when I've had systems that have been running, sold 97 homes with me gone for 20 years, and we were getting a closing with no commission letter. So one little thing out of the system, or in that case, it was more like, if you don't do what the system says to do, it can't get done, because the system is running the business. We just have to do what the system tells us to do, right? So if 5 days ago I was supposed to verify that the commission letter was in, but I didn't do that for 5 days, then closing showed up just like it was supposed to, and there was no commission letter. So it wasn't a bad thing. I mean, it was really to find all those little missing nuances in there, because I'm handing that off to an assistant actually this week, believe it or not, that I shouldn't have to have any training for her other than if it says, I was about to say if it says fax a copy of the contract to the lender, but email a copy of the contract to the lender, she knows how to get the contract and email it, right? That's the only training there is. So my assistant, right before all this happened, when I hired her, you know what my training was? It's like, all right, here you go. 2 weeks, I'm going to pay you. I'm not going to tell you anything. Day one, I'm not going to tell you anything. Figure out whatever you can figure out. Listen to us. Just do whatever you can do for the next 2 weeks. I don't care if you sit there and play solitaire, if that's what you want to do. But I wanted to find out what her strengths were on everything. Do you know, I never had to teach her how to use MLS. She figured it out. I didn't have to teach her how to put people in our database. She figured it out. Do you know how much training time I saved? And then at the end of 2 weeks, there wasn't really a whole lot left to teach her. And see, this came from coaching and training and hearing the same stuff, only really listening to what the comment is. The comment that I heard all the time was, well, you can only remember 10 or 20% of what you hear. Then why am I going to spend a ton of time putting this amazing training program together and cram somebody through it in 2 weeks and they can only remember 20% of it? That's about the dumbest waste of time on everybody's part, in my opinion. So I'd rather let you learn 80% of it and I'll teach you the 20% you don't know. You realize that's going to be different for every person too. But it teaches them to go know who to ask to figure things out. And they could call me anytime. It's not like I shut my door and said, good luck, let's see if you survive. You can call me 50 times a day. That was less time than taking them through a training program.
It's forcing them to take initiative.
Yep.
Well, and take ownership for those tasks and for those responsibilities. And for a lot of times I see real estate agents, I mean, they're amazing at what they do, but they're horrible at teaching it.
Yeah.
They're just not, because they're not good at the details themselves. So to have them teach, quite frankly, half-assed paperwork and compliance to someone else who's supposed to be really good at it just doesn't make sense.
Well, and so I'm supposed to go hire an assistant at 20, 30, 40 sales and say, you create the system for getting the contract to, well, where's the contract? What is dot loop? What is, you know, this, and what's an MLS? I thought that was a soccer league. So that's what Gerber does. Is he talks about just writing everything you do, every little thing you do every day for 2 weeks, document it, and then put it in an organized manner.
That's great. I usually give that advice with our mega agents, as well as when I go into different market centers to either launch them or fix them. It's, you know what, why doesn't everybody just write down what they do for every half hour? Just jot it down and let's review the week.
Yeah. Yeah, well, now that's a fun exercise that I'll do for 2 weeks, where every 30 minutes have your watch go off, write down exactly what you're doing. Now highlight green anything that is bringing in new dollars to your business. So that is what brings in new dollars to your business. That's a listing agreement or a buyer's agency agreement, right? That's about it. I mean, negotiating a contract through inspections, you already have that money on the table. Now you're just trying to keep the money. So it's new business. Anything that, so there's 3 colors I use on the calendar after I get done. Every 30 minutes for 2 weeks, write down everything you're doing at that exact moment. If you're eating a donut, write down eating a donut. Just do it, right? So highlight green anything that's dollar productive, new dollar activity. Anything else that's on that calendar that is stuff that has to be done. However, if I gave you a blank check every month and said, fill in whatever you need to hire, whoever you need to do everything you don't want to do, or that could be done by somebody else, that gets highlighted in yellow. Okay. That's caution. Hold on. This is something somebody else could do. I'm not the one that has to physically do it. I'm not required by my license, or I could teach somebody to do this. That's yellow. And then orange was just easy for my personal stuff that my big rocks are my kids and their dance competitions and all that stuff. Anything that Brad Korn has to go do, I can't hire a nanny to go to my kids' volleyball tournament and get any enjoyment out of life doing that. Or here's a good one. I need you to go ride the jet ski for Memorial Day weekend outside for me because I'm working today. Yeah, right. So the stuff that's orange is mine. So the yellow stuff is still might be stuff you're doing right now, but if money were no object and you could hire talent, I would hire somebody to do this stuff for me. So that now just defined your 80-20. 20% of what you do generates 80% of your income, and 80% of what you did today, you've done so far today, and what you're going to do, what you did yesterday, 80% of it generated 20% of your income. So what I always say is just turn 20% more green, 40% of your day green every single day, you will double your income. And that's why I say you shouldn't be looking at 5, 10, 15% increases. Look at 100% increases every year. See, that's another reason why I needed Sonia. You know how many years I taught, and I'm like, I've increased my business 50%. She said, Brad, double's 100%. I meant 50, double, whatever. Math.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so listen, we are running out of time with you because we could talk forever. What of these questions do we want to address? Because we have about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's where you start. The starting point is 100 sales a year is your focus. Now, where does that begin? It begins by starting with 5 people a day. So in E-Myth, Gerber talks about the 3-legged stool: lead capture, lead conversion, but I also want you to write next to lead conversion, lead cultivation, okay? And then the client fulfillment system. That's the 3-legged stool in the E-Myth real estate: lead capture, lead convert, and then the client fulfillment system. The client fulfillment system is contract to close, new listing till it goes under contract, new buyer until they write a contract and get it accepted. What's their experience? So that's important. However, until you are closing 3, 4, 5 deals every single month, this you can wing it and deliver okay service. It's not going to be Disneyland, but you haven't earned the right to create this first and then come back to lead generation. That's a waste of time. So in the book, he talks about, well, I'll say it, you guys can fill in the blank. If your business isn't growing, it's what? If it's not growing, it's dying, right?
Ding, 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 dying.
Yeah, dying. If your business isn't growing, it's dying, right?
Yeah.
So if your business is not being fed 5 people a day, every single day, by you connecting with people in your list, and another way I need to define this is those 5 people a day, you are going to talk to them with your voice at least 4 to 6 times in the next 12 to 14 months, right? They will never, ever not hear from you again. And that's because the system will tell you, hey, it's been 2 weeks since you talked to him. Hey, it's been 3 months. Hey, it's been 6 months. Hey, it's been 9 months. Hey, it's been a year. And then at the end of the year, it says, hey, it's been another 3 months. It's been another 6 months, been another 9 months. And there's stuff going out in between. Oh, that's called a drip plan, right? But it's the drip plan with the personal touch brought back in. So if you just call and connect with 5 people a day, which people have been doing right now, only I bet 2 months ago, the first people you started calling have not heard from you since. And if you're good, you wrote a handwritten note to follow up that call, and they haven't heard from you since. That's where you blew it. Call, connect, write a personal note with no business card, no anything in it, because you've got a system that's going to drip on them every week for the next 8 weeks, for example, and then maybe every 10 days after that forever. Because if you have 1,000 people, and this is the part I want you to hear, I'll start with easy numbers first. You think everybody has 100 people on their Facebook friends list that are not in their database yet?
Yes.
Probably. Okay, so I'm going to start simple, and then I'll really make it what it is. Take 100 names off of that list that you know that are not in your database yet. I want you to pick up the phone, call them. what's up, how you doing? And they're going to say, how's real estate in this market? And you're going to say, today's call is really not about real estate, because they want to talk about real estate like they want to talk about weather. They're not serious yet. And here's the good news is that only 1% out of the 100 will probably be moving right now. So if they say, hey, it's weird you called today because we were just talking about putting our house on the market this week, that's when you talk about real estate. But 99 other times you are going to not talk. You're not going to give them the satisfaction of, so what's real estate market like? You're going to say, you know what? I appreciate you asking, but today's call was about you. I wanted to check on you. Can I give you a call next week and tell you what's going on with real estate? What do you think they're going to say? Yes. Yeah, that'd be fine. Or we could get together and do our social distancing or whatever. Well, now I got 2 connections out of this 1 connection, and it's 3 because you're going to write a handwritten note. So great catching up. Glad you're doing okay. Or, you know, your strength is always amazing that you're fighting through this and doing what you have to do. Talk about them. No I, me, or my in the note. Okay, we're going mastery level here in 5 minutes. So you're not going to get this unless you watch this again. So it's connect, write a note, no branding, no nothing on this note. This is my personal heartfelt, you know, recap the conversation about them. Single out something about them, their personality or their smile. With Mary Beth, it would be just like, your laugh is so contagious. It's so much fun to get you on the phone and just hear your voice, right? Now did that make you feel good? I mean, it's real. I'm not making that crap up, right? That's what I would write. So she's going to get that with no business card or nothing. And then behind that will come a letter, an email, some other stuff. And in 4 weeks, another call will pop up. And it will say, call Mary Beth. It's been 4 weeks. And it's like, oh, I just talked to her yesterday is what it's going to feel like. I'm going to pick up the phone because the system said to call her. What's going on? She's going to love it. We're going to have a 30-second phone call, right? By the way, the first phone call sucks. For real estate agents who are trying to get to the next deal, the first phone call sucks, and it's your fault because we haven't been in touch with them. We're not connected with them.
Good point.
The big point here is out of 100 people, only 10 of them, if they're moving every 10 years. I think your guys' market has moved into a 10-year market, hasn't it? Are people moving slower, or are they still moving every 5 to 7?
No, it depends. It depends, but
Somewhere between 7 and 10.
Yep.
Yeah, so knowing 10's the longest that they might be moving more, out of 100 people, 10 of them are moving this year. So if I talk to 100 people, I've got absolutely 10 sales in the pocket as long as I call all 100 of them every single month for the next 12 months, because only one of them will know they're one of the 10 right now today. Now, if I call the same 100 next month, one more will know they're the next one of the 10. And the 9th and the 10th person won't know they're one of the 10 until 9 months from now, 10 months from now, right? So now let's really blow this into reality. Everybody that I have talked to that's in real estate probably has 500 to 1,000 people on their Facebook friends list, right? Everyone probably has 500 to 1,000 people that have called into this little device that are in your contact records, in your calls received, or in your calls outgoing. Now, yeah, sure, there's real estate agents and affiliates and all that stuff. First of all, affiliates all move. Real estate agents, 60 to 70, 80% of them get out in the next 4 to 5 years. Why wouldn't you have the relationship with them so that when they get out, you're like, just keep your license and referral. I'll send you check mailbox money every single month. Give me your relationships and introduce me to them, right? Oh, duh. So 100 people a day is, or 100 people is 5 people a day for 5 days a week, 4 weeks a month. That's 100 people a month, 1,200 people a year. Just start taking 5 off of your list and go into your database, pick up the phone, call them, write the note, and then start a drip plan. Out of 1,000 people, 100 of them are moving every single month. If it's a 10-year market. If it's a 7-year market, it's like 142 of them are moving every single year. So when I say, if you did that for this year and you did it next year as well, now you're up to 2,400 people. If you're going to be in real estate for 5 years and you do 5 people a day, not 5 people today and tomorrow and then skip a few days, 5 people a day, 5 days a week for the next 5 years, 6,000 people in your database that you've handwritten a note to at 5 a day. You can handle 5 a day, not 5,000 in a day, 5 a day, right? You have 6,000 people. Somewhere around 781 to 600 of them will be moving that next year. You only need to capture 1/6 of it. You only need to get it 1/6 of the way right, and you'll be selling 100 homes a year. So now you all know my secret. I am the best proclaimed laziest realtor on the planet because everybody thinks 100 sales a year is so crazy, and I'm just lazy. I'm only capturing 100. I've got more than 6,000 people in my database. I am screwing it up big time.
No, it's just crazy. You broke down that economic model and made it so so easy, just into little chunks, like 5 people a day. There's no one that can say, I'm too busy working on deals or in deals to call and have 5 conversations a day.
And never will your system ever kick you out 5,000 calls in a day. Never will you even see 100 calls in a day. Never. I don't think I've ever had 40 or 50 calls in one day, unless I'm doing bulk thinking. But when you do 5 and you spread it out and it says, call these people in 4 weeks and in 8 weeks, but I had 5 people tomorrow, well, they're calling in 4 weeks in one day, right? And then once they get through the 8 weeks, it actually goes to every quarter. It's going to take you 9 months to a year before you even get to 10 calls in a day. Are you kidding? If I handed you all 10 people to call that you already know, like, and trust, and they know you and like you, and I hand them to you every single day, 10 people to call a day, every one of us can make those calls. And they're 30 seconds, not even that.
I mean, that system is your assistant.
Yeah, just hands you your list every day.
Yeah, give me the list.
Yeah, that's what you. And in fact, when I hire an assistant, that's the one rule. Your job is not processing contracts. Your job is to make sure I get up to 5 appointments a day, every single day, 5 days a week, and we capture all 600 of those deals.
Right.
That's your job, or that's your purpose. That's what will keep your job. The job is just going to be busy work to keep you busy for the 8 hours, because all you got to do is hand me the list and make sure I turn that back into you, that I made those calls, and then your job will be set. In fact, forget about a 1 or 2 or 5% increase in salary. If I generate $250,000 a year next year because you made me make those calls, try about a $25,000 to $50,000 increase in 1 year in your salary, because now I got to keep you, right?
Well, and it seems like, your system is the plan to get 100 sales a year, and until you're doing that, you don't need the assistant.
You don't need an assistant. Yeah.
And then once you get to that, then you're getting the assistant and paying them from the increase.
And Mary Beth, you hang around smart people. Julie is smart.
But it takes me a long time, and then once I get it, it's a light bulb.
Success.
It's amazing.
No, one thing I'm recognizing though is that you took this year to actually slow it down, stop the train, plunge into the business, to figure it out for yourself, to say, I know this works, I've done this. Now I personally had my hand on this part and this part. Like, you can go open up a beauty salon because you know how to work the register, cut the hair, dye the hair, order the dye, you know how it operates. And now you're sure that you just find the right people, plug them in, and this system is going to work. Whereas most agents, they're too busy to stop and figure it out. Yeah. It's just they keep going and going and doing the same thing over and over, maybe getting those incremental increases or incremental decreases every year because it's, oh, this person didn't get divorced. This person didn't need to sell, the family bought it. And that's what their business relies on, is other people's decisions. And you're just saying, nope, here's the system, X amount of people, hold it accountable. And you're going to actually put in place this assistant that in a year from now, that's kind of your accountability coach. That's all.
Exactly. That's what an assistant should be. And by the way, I didn't slow the system down. It kept running normal. Yeah. I just plugged in and quit jacking around a little bit more, but not enough. We had a Super Bowl championship last year. That cost me 30 sales. I've got 30 sales sitting on my desk that I watched them buy something and I had them first. but there was a Super Bowl year. Otherwise, I would have been at 100 sales. So yeah, but it is, if you can't, I always live by the motto, how can I expect somebody to do something if I haven't done it myself? Really? 4 hours of lead. We need you in the office on the phone for 4 hours a day. Well, the person saying that hasn't even done it for 4 hours a day, every day for a year. Or they'd be at 1,000 transactions. They can't not be there.
Right. And to that point is, for those rainmakers that are listening, and I'm coaching a few people that are sliding over to our office. These are very simple metrics to hold people on the team accountable to. And honestly, guys, if you're listening, if they can't do 5 touches a day, then they're not worthy to work inside your business. Go let them work in their own business then.
Yeah. Oh man, we have a whole nother call there. I mean, if you don't have to buy leads, if your value proposition isn't, I'm going to give you crappy leads, because we know that's what they think they are. We as rainmakers can convert all of them. But if your value proposition is to hand them leads you don't like to work, or that they don't like to work, you can grow your business through their relationships and help them do 100 sales by having the system behind the scenes to hold them accountable to those 5 calls a day. They will never do it on their own. They will need you, and your value proposition is helping them get to 100, not provide them with 100 internet leads. Yeah. I watched a team bring 15,000 leads in 6 months in. I have no idea what it cost them, probably 10,000 or more a month, and closed 72 deals in that 6 month. Now that would be if nobody was like a past client, relationship based, any of that business. Those 72 deals were just the internet leads. It was less than 0.25% conversion rate. It's just dumb. What a waste of money. I mean, just put your 5 in first and see if you ever need internet leads. Or once you master the relationship and the follow-up process, then heck yeah, funnel in 15,000 internet leads, get them on the phone, create a relationship, watch that. You won't even be able to keep up. I mean, you're going to have a massive corporate, crazy real estate business.
I love it. I love it.
This has been really awesome. I feel inspired.
Woo! I like that. That says a lot.
We're gonna start a real estate team up again.
I know. I'm actually thinking about it. I put the link to your book in our chat, and also on our Facebook Facebook feed as well. So people watching it, and when they watch it again, will have it, because I'm actually gonna buy it right now too. I'm excited.
Now, if you go through the, I'm not sure what, did you put the emythrea.com up?
I put Amazon. Do you want me to go through your website specific?
Well, if they go to emythrea.com, they'll get it from me directly. You go into my follow-up system, which will help you implement the book. I don't care where they buy it, just as long as when they finally get it, they get a hold of me to figure out how to do it. Because I'm watching people try to do this on their own. It's a very complicated, simple system. But we'll make it way more complicated than it has to be to create it, and you'll totally miss what you're trying to do the whole time. I've been coaching people on this for 20 years, and yeah, it's so simple. The second you're like, man, this is hard, you're already not doing it right. You've already missed it. So emythrea.com is just going to get a personal copy for me. That's a stack of books I have here at home that I will put a message in. Put a note, comment what you liked, what was your aha, anything that will help me. I'll personalize the book, but the more important thing is what's going to come along to support it, to actually help you get the book in place. I could care less about the book being on your bookshelf. Okay. I want this to be, remember when they talked about turning your book into a binder thing?
I want to show you something.
Yeah, this is going to become your workbook. Yeah.
Okay, so this is my workbook.
Exactly. That's what the eMyth REA agent book should look like in the next year.
Well, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to get it through your site, and you're going to personalize it for me, and I'm going to use it, and we're going to see what happens with it, right? There's truly.
There you go. Yeah.
Before the tabbed ones were available, I said
the same thing. Here we go. This is mine. Right. So, all right. Well, I think we're going to have to get you back. I mean, I think we have so much that we still need to dive in, and then I think we should get this book, start to
I think get
dive
it,
through
read it,
yeah.
and then let's come
Oh,
back.
I mean, I love sharing the message. Until I see everybody doing 100 sales a year, I'm not going away.
All right, great.
Just because we
Awesome.
all deserve it, man. Everybody I've met is so cool. They deserve this real estate thing to work, especially team members. I probably have more passion for somebody on a team that I hope the Rainmakers get it. And let's take everybody on your team to 100 sales a year. Man, that is an incredible life for everybody.
You changed so many lives.
Amazing. Yeah. All right, wonderful.
Hey guys,
So,
thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Yep, and we will talk to you soon. We'll let you know. Thanks for listening, guys. It's Julie and Mary Beth just leading.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.